Hello everyone, my name is Lisa Lang. I'm the Director of EU Affairs and Policy at EIT Climate KIC. Climate KIC is the biggest agency, public-private funded, on European level to fight climate change. On the one side, we have the direct mandate from the European Commission, who also is funding us. And on the other side, we are very much in touch with the industry, and our job is simply just to build bridges and bring everybody together through innovation as a community. I don't look like a normal policy person. The reason is because I'm not. I ended up here through all different kind of ventures. But on the same time, I realized this is exactly the right place for me, is because the main thing, what always has been driving me, doesn't matter as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, as an inventor, as a scholar, was impact. It's like, how can I be useful? How can I contribute in change and in innovation in the right way? So always exploring different worlds, different communities, also because it's like I'm utterly curious about this world. If you choose to see the world as an entirety of opportunities, you will have a lot of fun. Also because you can build the opportunities yourself, but it starts with you. It's like, what do you want to do? And that answer changes maybe in 5 minutes, in 5 years. It certainly has for me, but I always knew like what was my API, my DNA. I was like, I want to participate. I want to do something. I want to be active. So that was a journey because I built 3 companies without venture capitalists as a single female founder, build them up. Some of them with $1 million revenue. They have their own team now, their own projects. My Portuguese company just did a project where we developed gloves for space travels. That's pretty cool. I'm a huge nerd for space satellites. If you can ever catch me at a bar, just say satellites, and we will talk for 10 hours straight. Or you can look at my TEDx talk about what are we going to wear on Mars. Because yes, the way how we dress is very important, what it actually tells us about us, and it's a statement. And by now it's a political statement, because the textile industry has some significant share on the damage done to Mother Earth. So everything is a journey. I certainly wasn't born or felt like I was born to become an entrepreneur. I grew up in a rural area in Germany. I wanted to become a carpenter when I was a kid. I really like to work with timber, because you can make something. You go into the workshop in the morning and then you have a result when you leave. I think my parents actually thought I would be like a really good housewife. Grew up very traditional, oldest one of 3, and entrepreneurship and starting your own thing, God forbid, as a woman, to speak up and say what you want, actually knowing what you want, and allowing yourself knowing what you want was kind of like, yeah, why should you? Why do you want to? So it was like really odd growing up. I knew I had to go somewhere. I had to leave, but I didn't know what is going to happen. That was really scary, but it was exciting on the same time. So I just decided, okay, so like I know there is a journey ahead of me, so well, let's start walking. And then I studied design. I had the very big luck studying in a university which was very much under the guidance of the Bauhaus principles. The artist is a craftsperson. The craftsperson is an artist. What that means is like you need to understand your tools and your machines. So you can repair them, but also you can change them. That's innovation for you, isn't it? It's like, you know, have you tried to hack a sewing machine or a screwdriver? This is like pragmatic innovation at the same time. It's like sometimes a little adjustment or a new needle is actually all what you need. My first company was in fashion technology, so I was spending a lot of time on that we need to have different ways of creating products. And yeah, so, you know, in textile innovation is like, how do we handle mushroom leather, orange peel leather, alternatives to leather? The production machines are set up for leather. That means with new materials, we need new needles, we need new stitches. That means we need to teach those people who are working with the old materials how to use the new materials, educate the consumer. So there's a shift thinking. Yeah, it's just like, and then I realized, okay, it's like innovation is one thing, but you also have actually to explain what that means. So I started with the very high impact electrocouture first company. Our dresses are all across the world in museums now. That's something I found really interesting. It's like, I haven't studied fashion, but my designs are in museums. Yeah, I have a healthy ego, but you know, I'm proud of that. We worked really hard for this. And out of this first company came my second company, which was an agency, a consultancy agency, like nothing innovative about that concept, but like what we taught was helping people to understand where the impact actually is. Then also, like, once you start your first company, then starting your second and your third, it becomes easier. You know, the whole paperwork and everything. You don't get scared anymore about spreadsheets. It's all about training. Practice, practice, practice. But like, the interesting thing is what I've learned during my studies is, and by the way, I didn't graduate as designer. I actually graduated as a software engineer, because what happened back then, there was a new job profile out there. It was web designers, but there was no university education for it. So my university, Märzakademie in Stuttgart, they were brave enough to try a new course, and we were the guinea pigs. It's called, you know, new media. So bringing design philosophy with software engineering together. And I never coded, back then I had never coded a line in any language. I had no idea. But I was utterly fascinated about it. Of course, I was the only woman in the course. Of course, I had, you know, all of the guys there, they programmed before. Of course, it was really hard and annoying. It's like, you know, you get constantly underestimated. But I carved my world in this because I realized that the inspiration of system thinking and system change starts by learning the system. So like, learn the programming language, understand how engineers think, and then lean back and reflect. Because that's what I was able to do, right? It's like, I couldn't compete on the programming side. I mean, I can write code, but do I have to now? So I was just like watching and listening a lot, and I just understood the philosophy and mindset behind engineering. And what I learned was like the way how engineers approach problem solving. They're actually going 2 steps back, walking around it and looking at it from a different perspective. And I found that utterly fascinating. Because innovation is, you know, supposed to be about how to solve problems, right? or not? How about we don't have to solve the problems? How about we avoid the problems in the first place? And here we go, we are with climate change. Right? This was coming. This is a systemic issue. We shouldn't be surprised that we are in this situation right now, politically, in certain situation. Understand the system, the history, the heritage, everything is connected. So I ended up in Australia. Did I mention that? No. So I worked in the Silicon Valley, Australia tech startup scene. I ran engineering teams. Yeah, I ran engineering teams and with lipstick, right? Only woman there did that. Deliberately wearing lipstick. I refuse to wear the uniform, jeans and t-shirts. It's like, I can wear fingernails and lipstick and high heels and still kick your butt when you haven't done your code change properly. All right. So moved back to Germany. That's like where I started, to Berlin, of all places, of course. Started my companies, and then something really funny happened. Is because, you know, I never planned to be in policy. But a member of the European Parliament saw me on stage. Back then, I had zero marketing dollars, so I was my own marketing machine. So that meant I was just going on every stage all the time talking about our work. I did something like infotainment. Back then, I trained myself to speak in 140 characters. Back then, there was like Twitter, 140 characters. So I was like, okay, in order to help people to put me more on Twitter, I have to help them to write a proper tweet. So there are certain words, certain terms I want to have connected with me and my brand. And I reduced it to 140 characters and said it over and over and over again. Understand the system. Help people to help you. And then do it over and over and over again. And it worked. It worked. Now it's just 280 characters, right? So I could actually talk more. Anyway, so a member of the European Parliament saw me on stage and said, like, we need entrepreneurs in Brussels. We need to be closer with the industry. Would you like to come to Brussels? Do an internship. That was actually a joke. He said, like, I was like, okay, good. Brussels, I have to check. Where is that? I had the whole European thing not on my radar at all. And I was like, yeah, okay, but like, how should we do that? And he's like, make an internship. And I actually took that serious. Like, I had a design studio with 48 people in Berlin back then. And what did I do? I made an internship in Brussels. In the parliament. It was very much Legally Blonde, the movie, right? So I had my pink shoes and my silver handbag and was hanging out with all of the other interns out there, and we drank cheap beer on the steps in front of the parliament during cocktail hours. And yeah, but it was cool because I learned all of the gossip. That's the thing, is like, made friends with the security guys, with the housekeepers, with the receptionist, and I was like utterly fascinated because I got trained as an engineer, and then I went to Brussels and understood, so policy, this is actually back-end engineering, right? And if I go in there, I can actually help to avoid problems before they become problems by simply creating bridges and bringing people together in a room, being a facilitator. In order to do this, I need to understand systems. I need to understand, how the industry works. I started 3 companies in different countries in different industries. So, and with that, I was able to go into Brussels and say, okay, I work there. I know those machines. I know the shop floor workers, right? I've been in the reality. That actually helps me a lot in my policy work, because usually policy, if you have the picture of like the bureaucrats who are not allowed to leave their cubicle, that's like a little bit the commission for you. But the interesting thing is also, is like, what I learned is like that they utterly, deeply care. You don't make a lot of money when you work for, you know, the public sector. So there is and the European government is totally overworked, doesn't have enough people, has too much work. There's always something going on. So like, in order for you to actually be in this job, you have to be passionate about it, right? Of course, it doesn't apply to everyone, but like for the people I've met, it's like, I was really surprised. I was like, okay, wow, they really want to. Because in the beginning, I was like, do they even give me a meeting? Would they even listen to me? I mean, look at me, right? It was just like, it was actually on the contrary, like, oh, you were out there. You're an entrepreneur. Can you explain technology to us? And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm very happy to be a demystifier of technology. Just call me and we can talk about artificial intelligence. The topic is not about artificial intelligence. We are nowhere near there. The topic is about how do we actually collect the right data before we even start with artificial intelligence. But you know, you have to understand that. So I got hooked. I was like sitting with my other intern colleagues drinking beer on the steps of the parliament, which everyone can do, by the way. If you go to Brussels, do this. It's pretty cool. Sitting on the steps of the parliament when the sun goes down, and there's like, yeah. So impact, being there. So I was hooked. And then decided with my husband together that like, okay, so our focus shift will be over the next years is like, we will end up in Brussels. So that's the thing, is like, you know, I just made a decision. This is what I want to do. The way how to get there, that could have been different. It was like, yeah, but like eventually I will end up in Brussels. Through my internship, because I had a lot of conversations with commissioners, went to a lot of parties. That's how we did it back then, before lockdown. We just went to parties all the time. I got invited to events. I got invited to join high-level advisory boards, to join forums. And I worked really hard to contribute, to understand and learn the system. And people appreciated and they invited me back. So step by step, I built a network. And then I've met my now boss, Kirsten Dunlop, who is a fantastic CEO of Climate KIC. And she saw me and invited me to join in director position. And I said like, look, you know, I haven't studied this. I'm not a normal policy person. She was like, yes, exactly. We need a hacker. We need to have a system change. And in order to change the system we need to know the system. All right. So what does that mean now in climate change? Well, like the topics. I mean, again, I could like talk for 10 hours about it. The thing is, from EU level, there are a lot of mechanics in the pipeline, which will utterly influence industries, but also should be seen as a great opportunity to create new business, to be ahead of the game. So, circular economy, for instance. Can we just make sure, very first thing is that, because recycling is not circular economy. When you have to recycle, that means circular economy failed. You haven't set up circular economy correctly if you have to recycle. So I highly recommend to look into circular economy from the design principle of reuse, the right to repair. That is actually a thing, the right to repair. Companies will get forced to create programs and products and services with the right to repair. There's an opportunity for you. How do you do this? How do you figure it out? What is the methodology? What is the digital platform for it? How can you track and trace? Because, you know, on policy level, this is not about the question if it will come. It will come. The question is just like, are you prepared? So that's why policy, being in policy and understanding lobbyism is important, because there's white magic there. It gives you an other advantage knowing what will come on EU level. And how your government, how your city, how your region is involved. And if they're not involved, go and make sure they're getting involved. Have you heard about Net Zero Cities program? Yes, Climate KIC is the project manager of that, of course. But that is a program where cities can pledge to go carbon neutral until 2030, and the first 100 cities will receive 100 million per city, not in total, per city. We are trying to figure this out. So that means, get your city in this. Participate. There will be a lot of solutions needed. Circular economy as a city project. How about that? Of course, it's very close to say, let's fix it with technology. We just need another platform. We just need another app. Okay. I worked in tech startups, so I get, the whole excitement in technology, but let's just make sure that we acknowledge what technology is in this context. It's a tool. It's not the solution. It's a part of it, but it can't and shouldn't be the only solution, because technology only can be used as one part, as a piece of the puzzle. But also we need, we're talking about change management. We have to convince people to change their behavior. So that is something emotional. This is about a human capacity. Technology can help you with an app to track everything. But in the end of the day, it's like people are scared. So, sometimes maybe it feels like that people don't care, but it's simply just because, they're scared. Or they just don't know. They just don't know how to do this. So how can we all participate in climate change? Break it down, make it easy, track it. One of those programs will be on EU level, will be the digital product passport. So this is digitalization for you people. The digital product passport will trace all of the products out there, making sure CO2 footprint is mapped, making supply chains transparent. Yeah, fashion industry. Yeah, the EU textiles paper just has been released. The war is on to fast fashion. Oh yeah, people. Oh yeah. So, and because of that, that's when the digitalization will come in, and it will be forced, and it will be clumsy, like the GDPR, and it will be annoying, but it will come, because we don't have time. So there's big thinking projects out there, and the way how you can help is to participate on your local level. All of you can sign up to be an expert reviewer on the Commission's website. Participate in expert roundtables. There are so many events. The future of Europe, industry days, SME assembly. Yeah, they sound all really uncool. Come and make them cool again. It's a lot of work. That's the thing. Innovation is a lot of work. Entrepreneurship has to be seen as an attitude. You can be an entrepreneur without, needing to have a big company. Let's put it like that. This is not about growth anymore. It's about impact. Because after all, the desire for just crazy, stupid growth has put us in this place where we are now. Consuming for the sake of consuming. Let's change that. Understand the system. Let's change that. So, we don't want to be too doom and gloom. By the way, I highly recommend reading this book, Lobbying for Change. It's a very good guide. It's a very good guide to understand how all of you can get involved in local and big picture policy work. Because it's possible, you just have to choose to see it. And yes, it's for your businesses utterly important to understand all of the regulations which are coming. And maybe, help to guide them in the right direction. Your voice is important, but nobody will hear you when you don't scream, especially to you women out there. You have to stand up and make a decision to participate. The time is over where we just sit in the corner and just wait to be discovered or, looked after. It's like, no. Get up and walk. I just realized I went over time. Again, I could talk about it for a very, very long time. Have a look at Climate KIC's website. There are an immense amount of projects out there where you can get funding, where you can participate in education platform. RMIT Spain, with Future Learn platform, has a really good series of workshops. Check that out. Go to social media, have a look. There is so much going on. There is no excuse not to get involved. There's a lot of it, right? Takes a little bit of time. Learning new words, totally fine, right? But there are so many business opportunities out there, and you will see them when you understand what is coming. Build the solutions with the systems. Because again, we don't have the time. Be pragmatic. And enjoy the journey. I certainly do. Let me know when you're in Brussels. I'll take you for a ride. Bye.